Kii B came in on feet of water. Twilight ran out of shore and kept going. The bay became a field, flooded and flat, its skin a mirror with hairline cracks. From the north a shape lifted itself out of that mirror and kept the mirror intact. A hull wearing black the way cliffs wear rain. Kii B along the bow, letters as thin as blades. She did not cut the surface. She borrowed it. The sea accepted the debt and held still. Torii Gate ruins rose crooked from the shallows like ribs, their paint leached to the color of bone. Kii B threaded them without touching. Her camo was not paint. It was lacquer armor, plate upon plate, the sheen of storm-still ponds. Between plates, red undertones like embers under ash. Where the light reached for a contour, the contour stepped aside. Crew gathered as if summoned by a bell no ear recorded. Faces behind black veils. Gloves that shone wet though the air was dry. Each carried a lantern whose flame was reversed, black fire hissing a faint ring of lightlessness. They hung them along the lifelines. The deck learned night from those lanterns and kept it. She spoke first to the ground that was missing. The guns raised slow, not to aim but to feel for depth. Their muzzles opened a finger's width. The sound that left was soil remembered. Far away, sandbars convulsed and stood 1 inch taller. A torpedo slid out like a carp made of ink. It did not hurry. Midway it opened its mouth and swallowed a prayer drifting under the surface, a paper scrap with 3 brush strokes, then vanished so completely the water forgot the disturbance. Kii B wore a tied calendar in her seams. Thin grooves cut into steel. As the ship moved, the grooves aligned with the world and clicked softly. With each click, an old festival reversed itself. Drums unstruck, lanterns unlit, fireworks returning to powder with sighs of relief. On the bridge, the captain turned a wheel without resistance. His coat was a mountain's shadow. His eyes never moved. The flooded plain bent. Rows appeared in the water like rice fields drawn by memory. The cruiser advanced along them, centerline to centerline, as if she had been planted here as seed. The horizon pinned itself to a cloud that carried writing too large to read. The writing curved into a spiral. The spiral rotated until it resembled a typhoon seen from beneath. It did not move the air. It moved in tension. An impact happened in the distance where nothing touched. A column of water rose and turned to glass mid-lift. Inside the glass shimmered slopes, cedar terraces, stone steps, roofs, a mountain not present. Kii B altered 3 degrees, barely enough to notice. Her wake did not curl. It traced a character backward across the plain and the character kept walking after the water stilled. The crew went to the rails and tipped their black lanterns outward. The flames fell into the flood and did not sink. They stayed level with the deck and drifted away in a slow procession, each leaving a thread of lightlessness behind it. The threads gathered and became a road. The road led to the column of glass and stopped at its base like a polite visitor. A drum sounded. Not on the ship. Under her. The drum was geography. It struck twice, then hesitated, then struck once as if deciding to continue later. The hull answered with a hum so low it turned the Torii bones toward her. In that hum the cruiser remembered being something with roots. She approached the column and did not collide. Steel slid into glass with the courtesy of a hand into water. Her bow entered a forest that was also a throat. Cedar trunks built from weather. Rope rings thick with folded paper. The ship passed between and over without choosing. On the surface, seen from shore, she seemed to hang in place while rain traced circles around her that never reached. A fox moved along the bridge window. Not animal. Not a fog with eyes. It paused and looked into the ship as if inspecting an altar. The captain blinked once. The fox tilted its head toward the open sea. The ship understood. Kii B withdrew without reversing. The glass collapsed into rain. Torii ruins settled and pretended they had never leaned. The lanterns returned to the hands that had thrown them, their flames the right color now. The crew stowed them without looking down. One sailor opened his palm. Inside lay a cedar needle wrapped in wire. It twitched like a needle finding north, then lay still. He slid it into a seam where it vanished cleanly, absorbed as if it had always belonged. The guns fired once, finally. The flash resembled a distant shrine catching sun. No thunder. Only a silence that pronounced a name hidden between syllables. Far outside the plane, a buoy toppled gently and stayed down, blinking through water like a star with its own tide. Shore lights returned in the wrong order. Bells ashore rang an hour that did not exist. The flooded field lost its mirror and became sea again with waves and opinions. Kii B took none. She turned toward the mouth of the channel and let the last daylight mistake her for night. The letters on her bow almost let go of metal. Almost. Behind her, the path she had drawn did not close. It darkened into a seam you could step into if you did not mind losing your direction. The city pretended not to see it. The sea pretended it had always been there. The ship did not pretend. She kept the calendar quiet in her seams and watched the spiral writing in the cloud break apart and drift to their proper pages. She will pass again when the plane forgets it is not a mountain. Or when the mountain remembers it is also a ship. Either will do.